Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Quality Magnify India. Myself Deepak Kumar Shamal. Welcome all of the viewers and subscribers to my channel. Friends, as I told you, do watch all the videos which I have uploaded for other APA courses 510 and 570. And there are a bunch of videos for welding, painting, piping questions, PWST, auditing. Keep watching those videos which you like. Share those videos with your friend and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Help with your friends who really need to appear for some of the APA exams or some they want to grow their knowledge on welding or paintings or other related activities. Share those videos with them and keep on helping to grow this channel further. So let's start APA 653, which we are continuing. APA 653 part 4 we have completed. Total part 1, 2, 3, 4 we have completed, in which we cover APA 650 construction of the deck. So as I told you, APA 653 covers a bunch of APA courses as well as 2 ASME courses. So we'll jump one by one. So for APA 653, as I told you from the beginning, to understand APA 653, you need to understand APA 650 properly. If you understand 650, then it is easy for you to understand 650. Why? Most of the questions, APA 653 questions, which contains almost 170 questions, out of which only 653 contains 90 to 95 questions. So you can imagine the importance of this part, APA 653. APA 650 contains 20 to 25 questions. So if a person thoroughly understands APA 650 and APA 653, then he can cover almost 70% of the examination questions. And as I told you, to pass the exam, 70% is required. Please don't misinterpret it. Because if you will only answer 650 and 653 and you think you will pass the exam, it is not like that. You have to score individual parts also. 571 damage mechanism, 577 welding, 575 section 5, section 9. From all these chapters you will find many questions and you have to answer from those parts also, not only from 650 or 653. So the basic concept or the basic understanding which we need to know, that we have to score more and more in 650 and 653 because these two codes are interrelated, so that we can score a higher percentage in 650 and 653, which will help us to get pass. That doesn't mean we will ignore all those courses. Okay, so let's start 653, in which we will cover similarly how we cover 650. We cover 653 in the same manner. For 653, in this part 5, we will cover chapter 1, 2 and 3. And this 3 chapter will consist almost 7 to 9 questions in the exam. So you have to be very careful, because just imagine 4 parts we cover APA 650 and there is 20 to 25 questions. And one part in APA 653 we are covering where 7 to 9 questions will come. Next part, part 6 will come only chapter 4. That is almost 15 questions will come. So it is more important. Okay, more questions can be expected. So if there is more questions can be expected, you have to read it very thoroughly, because APA 653 there are many questions where they play with words. Okay, sell, or, and, there are a lot of things which can confuse you. Okay, greater than, equal, less than. So if you read it carefully, then you can answer it in a proper way. So let's start APA 653 training course part 5. So what say APA 653? It is tank inspection, repair, alternation and reconstruction. Why I box all these things? Because all these words are very important and we have to cover all these words in 653 one by one. Inspection. What does mean inspection? Mean you have to do the inspection of a in-service tank. When we do inspection, there are a lot of criteria are coming. Whether it is a schedule inspection, internal inspection, external inspection, or only routine inspection, or UT thickness measurement inspection. Okay, when the inspection will be scheduled. Okay, how to know the inspection is required or not? What is minimum corrosion allowance? What is called how many years the tank can sustain? How many corrosion allowances? How many corrosion allowance is pending? What is the remaining life of the tank? So all these things will come under inspection. Okay. So we have to find out in next chapters, next slides, next part to get know more about inspections. About inspections, you have must questions in API exam. Repair. When we say repair, what do we mean by repair? Whether it is a major repair or it's a minor repair. What does it call major repair? And what is called minor repair? How we can differentiate it? And which repair we have to attend? So all these questions are coming under repair. What do you mean by alternation? Alternation means when you are changing the sail height. Okay, this is the let's say this is the tank. Okay, this is the base plate, and if you change the sail height, okay, increase or decrease, or if you do any change of bottom plate, okay, insert a new bottom plate or change the bottom plate, this is called alternation. Okay, when it is required, how to do it, what are the requirements, at what thickness, if it reaches, then we have to do the alternation. So those things we will read it further. Reconstruction, there is another one term also, reconstruction and relocation. Reconstruction means I have to cut the tank completely and do it again. Relocation, I have to lift the tank and bring it to new place. It is called relocation. There is another one term also. We will read it in, further. Okay. So APA 653 usually covers all these things. When we read all these things, it will mention what uh, when we will go for the repair, what are the type of repairs, how to inspect the repair, how to measure the repair, when we can consider the alternations, what is called reconstruction, what is called inspection. So basically 653 will contain all these things. And when, that's why I told, when we read 650, it is easy for us to understand 653. Why? 650 is construction, and during construction we have read about roof, cell, bottom plates. Similarly, we will read in 653 for roof, cell, bottom plate. What are the inspection for roof? What are the inspection for cell? What are the inspection for bottom plates? What are the inspection criteria? How to do the inspection? How to do the remaining life calculations? How to do the T minimum for the cell plates? How to check the hydrostatic test heights? All these requirements we will read in APA 653. So that's all about APA 653. We have to read it very carefully and underline the things. Okay, let's start scope. Around 3 to 4 questions will come per scope. This standard covers steel storage tank built to APA 650 and its predecessors APA 12C. What is 12C? 12C, when APA 650 was not there. APA 650 came into force on 1968. Okay, so before 1968 there is APA 12C. So it is telling this is a closed book exam, and every time most of the time they ask this question. Okay, this is closed book exam. So what this question is, it is saying APA 653 or this standard cover steel storage tank built to APA 650 and it predecessors APA 12C. So if any tank is manufactured before 1968, then also this code will cover this. Okay, so this is the exact question they will ask. APA 650 covers what? Steel storage tank built to APA 650 and it predecessors APA 12C. The multiple choice, maybe it will come APA 650 only, APA 12C only. local jurisdiction code only, or APA 653 will come ASME section 8, they will put something like that funny answers. So you have to give the right answer APA 650 and it predecessors APA 12C. It provides minimum requirement for maintaining the integrity of such tanks. Minimum requirement. Okay, what are the minimum requirements? We will go for that one. That's why we will do some inspections. Okay, we'll do some check. We'll check the cell thickness. We'll find out some of the requirements. Then we have to decide whether we'll go for a repair or not. So what is telling, it provides minimum requirements for maintaining the integrity. Integrity means for the intent purpose. The tank intent purpose is to hold the liquid. So that integrity it should maintain of such tanks after they have been placed in service and addresses inspection, repair, alternation, relocation. See, I told you relocation and reconstruction. So this code covers for uh, it was built to APA 650 and its predecessors 12C. Predecessors means who replace. Okay, predecessors is replacement. Before it was 12C and 650 replace it. So it is called predecessors. Okay, it provides minimum requirement for maintaining the integrity of such tanks after they have been placed in service. This is not a question, but this is a question. Okay. The scope is limited to the tank foundation. This is a question, okay? Closed book question. Scope. The scope is limited to the tank foundation, bottom, sail, structure, roof, attached appendages, and nozzles to the face of the fast flange, fast threaded joint, fast welding, and connection. So the scope you should know very importantly, because if you don't know the scope, you cannot read a document. To read a document, you need to know the scope first. Okay, so the scope is here. Here it is mentioned, and the same scope it is mentioned in 650. So that's why when we read 650 and we come to 653, it will be very easy for us because we know the tank foundation we read there. We know read the bottom, sail, structure, roof, all these things we already read in APA 650. So what are the requirements there? Here the requirements will be slightly changed. Like a bottom plate for APA 650. What is the minimum thickness required in APA 650? 6 mm. Okay, if you remember, it is 6 mm. Okay, but in APA 653, the minimum thickness required for bottom plate is 2.5 mm. If it is less than 2.5, we have to go for a repair. Okay, so that are some of the changes. So like that, we already read about how to do the bottom plate calculation, how to do the cell plate calculation, T minimum, how we can do for FA 650. Similarly, we will do for 653, how to calculate the T minimum when we reach the T minimum, if it is allowed or not as per the requirement. So this type of calculation we will do the 653, and a calculation questions are must. 3 to 4 questions, open book question calculation will must come. Okay. So in the case of apparent conflict, this is a question 100% you have to remember. Okay, this is coming most of the time in the closed book. Closed book question. In the case of apparent conflict between the requirement of the standard and APA 650 or its predecessors APA 12C, this standard shall govern for tanks that have been placed in service. If there is a conflict between APA 650 and APA 653, then APA 653 should be considered. Okay, similarly, another one term, this is also a question. This standard is intended for use by organizations that maintain or have access to engineering and inspection personnel technically trained and experienced in tank design, fabrication, repair, construction, and inspection. So this is another one question which will come. So you have to remember this. Okay, this is a closed book question. This standard does not contain rules or guidelines to cover all the varied conditions which may occur in an existing tank. There are some particular terms which we read on a previous slide, tank bottom, cell. So those particular terms it will follow, not all other terms. When design and construction details are not given and are not available in the as-built standard, do you know what is as-built standard? It will come one definition as-built standard, and it is a usual question usually come. As-built standard means on which standard it was constructed, that is called as built standard. If it was constructed on APA 650 2008, then that was the edge built standard. Okay, we will read about edge built standard. Detail that will provide a level of integrity equal to the level provided by the current edition of APA 650 must be used. Okay. This standard recognizes fitness for service. This question is usually asked. Which code is used for fitness for service? API 579-1 ASME FFS, fitness for service FFS. Okay. Compliance with the standard. The owner or operator has ultimate responsibility for complying with the provisions of the standards. There is a difference between APA 650 and APA 650. APA 650 is construction of the tank, but APA 653 is inspection of the tank. So when it is the inspection, at that time there is no manufacturer. At that time in 650, the responsibility was for manufacturer. But here the responsibility is for owner or operator, because the manufacturer has manufactured the tank and he left the site. So during manufacturing, compliance with the standard is manufacturer responsibility. During APA 653, operator and owner responsibility. Okay, this is important and usually they ask in the question. Okay, jurisdiction, what I told last time, it is local authority. Okay, if any provision of the standard present a direct or implied conflict with any statutory regulations, the regulations shall govern. However, if the requirement of the standard are more stringent than the requirement of the regulations, then the requirement of the standard shall govern. That means always it is telling whichever is more stringent, whichever is more strict, we have to follow that standard. Okay, local jurisdiction also same. When we check for APA 650 and APA 653, then we told APA 653 will be governed. So that you need to remember. Usually these questions are coming, 3 to 4 questions will come. Safe working practice. This is the code which you have to remember. Usually they ask in the APA exam, closed book exam. Okay, procedures shall be developed according to the guidelines given in APA 2015 and APA 2217A that will include safeguard for personal health and safety. This is a question usually come. You have to note down it. Okay, except in areas specifically designed at safe for hot work, a hot work permit shall be obtained before. This is a closed book question. Usually they ask. Areas specifically designated as safe for hot work, a hot work permit shall be obtained wherever a hot work is done. Grinding, cutting, gas cutting, welding. Okay. So hot work permit is required. Okay. And for that one, we have to look for APA standard 2015. So what else? That's all for section 1. We will get 3 to 4 questions. As I highlighted those points, you have to make note, and it is a sure shot questions. It is easy to score. Okay. Section 2 is normative references. You will find 1 questions. They will put the code name and they will ask what does this code is. Let's say 579.1 fitness for service, 580 risk based inspections. Usually these 2 codes they ask. Many questions they ask these 2 codes. So APA 2015 is requirement for safe entry and cleaning of petroleum storage tanks. APA 2201 is safe hot tapping practice in the petroleum and petrochemical industries. APA 2207 is preparing tank bottom for hot works. APA 2217A is guidelines for safe work in inert confined space in the petroleum and petrochemical industries. And SNTTC 1A for personal qualification and certification of non-destructive testings. You have to remember this, and you will find 1 question in APA 653 question exam. So the section 3 where we can expect 3 to 4 questions. Let's go through this. Alternation. Any work on a tank that changes its physical dimension and configuration is called alternation. As I told you, you remember before 2-3 slides, I told you increasing or decreasing the cell height or change and installation of a new tank bottom plate is called alternation. Alternation means change its physical dimension. Its physical dimension is changing. If I change the cell height, the physical dimension is changing. If I change the new bottom, the physical dimension is changing. So that is called alternation. Edge built standards. Just few minutes back we are discussing what is edge built standard. The standard, such as API standard or UL standard, used for the construction of the tank component in question. If the standard is not known, the as-built standard is the standard that was in effect at the date of installation of the component. If the date of installation of the component is not known, then the current applicable standard shall be considered as the as-built standard. There is three terms. Okay. First sentence. It is very important, and usually the question is asked in the exam. The standard, such as API standard or UL standard. Okay. UL is one of the safety standards to increase the safety factor of equipment. Okay. Used for the construction of the tank component in question. Okay. Whatever the standards it used during the construction, we call it as-built standard. If this standard is not known, the as-built standard is the standard that was in effect at the date of installation. Let's say in 1998, there is one tank was installed as per that time API standard. Okay, so we call it that API standard as as-built standard. But if that standard was not mentioned and it was missing, and in 2004 we will consider whatever the API standard 653 standard was governing at that time, we will consider that standard as built standard for that particular tank. If the date of installation of the component is unknown, if the date is unknown, when it was installed we don't know, then the current application standard shall be considered to be the current applicable standard is 2004. If 2004 you will find out this standard is API standard is governing at that time, then you will consider API 2004 is the current as built standards. Okay, there is another one standard will come next slide, just wait. Okay, so this is called as-built standard. Usually it comes in the exam. Okay. Authorized inspection agency. You can take a guarantee you will get one question from authorized inspection agency. It is a must question in a PSX. Who is called a authorized inspection agency? When we are doing any inspection, repair, alternation, or relocation or reconstruction of a tank, who can do the inspection? First, the inspection organization of the jurisdiction. Okay, the local authority jurisdiction in inspection organization, that is government bodies inspection organization in which the above ground storage tank is operated. In a government, when you in an area where the tank was located, for that particular tank, the government body's inspection department who is operating that, okay, operated, those inspection organization can be the authorized inspection agency. Clause 1. 2. The inspection organization of an insurance company, okay, which is licensed or registered to and does write the above ground storage tank insurance. If any inspection organization, okay, insurance, if in any insurance company, the inspection organization who is licensed or registered and does write the above ground storage tank insurance, they can also be the authorized inspection agency. Third, the owner or operator, okay, the owner of the tank for whom the tank was built, of one or more above ground storage tanks, who maintain an inspection organization for activities relating only to his or her equipment and not for above ground storage tank intended for sale or resale. Whatever the tank is there in the premises of owner and operator, an inspection agency who is taking care of that activities, not for doing the sale or resale, they can also be a authorized inspection agency. Third, fourth, an independent organization or individual under contract to and under the direction of owner and operator and recognized or otherwise not prohibited by the jurisdiction in which the above storage tank is operated. There is independent organization, okay, or individual under contract to and under the direction of owner operator. Owner and operator is given the direction or given the authority to that independent organization, and it is not prohibited by the local body. Okay, they can be a authorized inspection agency. So these four you have to remember. They will give you 3 correct answer and 1 wrong answer. Okay, somewhere they will mention it is let's say in the D they will mention an independent organization or individual under contract to and under the direction of owner and operator and recognized or otherwise. Here it is written not prohibited, they will write prohibited by the jurisdiction. So is he allowed? No, he's not allowed. So they will play with such a one word. That's why I told you have to remember it very carefully. So this is called authorized inspection agency. Breakover point, the area on a tank bottom where settlement begins. So let's say this is my tank cell and this is my bottom, okay, bottom plate. So let's say this point the settlement happens. What do you say? The settlement begins. At this point the settlement begins. So this point is called breakover point. You have to remember this. This is a very important term. Usually they ask in the questions. Okay. For the edge settlement, we'll read about. We already read this, some of the settlements in APA 650. We'll read in detail about 653. Edge settlement. We call it edge settlement. Okay. So this is called break-even point. The area on the tank bottom where the settlement begins. Candidate tank. Candidate tank means the tank for which corrosion rates are not known. If you don't know the corrosion rate, then it is candidate tank. And if you know the corrosion rate, then it is called control tank. Okay, if you don't know, candidate tank. If you know, then control tank, the tank for which corrosion rates and service history are known and documented. Critical zone, this is very important and you will get this question most probably. Most of the APS 653 exam, they will ask these questions. Critical zone, the portion of the tank bottom, okay, tank bottom or annular plate within 3 inch of the inside edge of the wall. Remember it very carefully. I will tell you. This is the cell. This is the bottom. Okay, what is telling? The portion of the tank bottom or annular plate. Let's say this is our annular plate. Okay, tank bottom or annular plate within 3 inch in the inside edge of the cell. 3 inch inside edge from here, 3 inch inside edge of the cell. So this is called critical zone. You have to remember it very carefully. In most of the exam they will ask. They will ask inside edge. They will put outside edge. Okay, from the cell. They will put outside edge from the bottom. So you have to remember the key term very carefully. 3 inch inside the edge of cell. Maybe they will put 2 inch inside of the cell. 3 inch outside of the edge of the cell. So the exact term for critical zone is the portion of the tank bottom or annular plate within 3 inch in the inside edge of the cell. Measure radially inwards. Measure radially inwards. It's called critical zone. Current applicable standard, that is different. What we read before few minutes, as built standard and current applicable standard. So as built standard, we understand the standard where in which it was built. Okay, at what time it was built is called as built standards. Current applicable standard, the current edition of the standards such as API and UL that applies if the tank were built today. So if it was built now in this year, what is the current API and UL code? That code is called current applicable standard. Examiner. Examiner is a non-destructive examiner. We call a NDE person who is performing NDE, we call him a examiner. Okay, examiner and inspector, there is different. Don't mix these two terms. Examiner is a non-destructive examination who performs specific non-destructive examinations. External inspections, a formal visual inspection conducted or supervised by an authorized inspector to access all aspects of the tank as possible without suspending operations or requesting tank shutdown. Okay, external inspection means we are just doing the external of the inspection. No need to shut down the tank. Okay, fitness for service, as I told you, you have to remember API 559-1. A methodology whereas flaws contained within a structure are assessed in order to determine the adequacy of the plot structure for continued service without imminent failure is called FFS. Okay, the tank. Hot tap identifies a procedure for installing a nozzle in the cell of the tank that is in service. Okay, hot tap, we'll read. There is a chapter for hot tap. We'll read further. Hot tap is called identify a procedure for installing a nozzle in the cell of the tank that is in service when it is in service. Hydro test, a test performed with water in which static fluid head is used to produce test load. There is static fluid, no pressurized fluid. Okay, static fluid only. That we read in APS 650. How we do hydro test? What is the filling rate? How many hours it will take the filling rate? Less than 22 mm, greater than 20. Do you remember all these things? If you not, try to practice all these things, because these are, you need to practice it again and again, then only you can remember. Okay, those are they're most important questions, and most possibly these are coming on the APA 653 exam. Insert plate, that's why I told why we read APA 650. Insert plate, do you remember? I have already told. Insert plate means thickness that is equivalent to or no more than 1/8 inch. If it is more than 1/8 inch, it is called thickened insert plate. Okay, thickened insert plate. What is measure alternation and measure repair? Everything above 12 inch. Just remember 12-inch formula. 12-inch formula for measure alternation. So we'll read one by one, but there is two changes, like installing a new bottom and jacking a tank cell. Okay, if you jack the tank cell, then we call it a measure alternation. So what is called measure alternation, measure repair? Installing a cell penetration larger than NPS 12, nominal pipe size, NPS 12 beneath the design liquid level. Okay, beneath the design liquid level. Above the design liquid level, it is not a measure alternation because it is not required. The hydro test is not done. Okay, beneath the design liquid level. Installing a bottom penetration within 12 inch of the cell. Removing and replacing or adding cell plate beneath the design liquid level where the longest dimension of the replacement plate exceeds 12 inch. Removing or replacing annular plate ring material where the longest dimension of the replacement plate exceeds 12 inch. Complete or partial removal or replacement of more than 12 inch of vertical weld joints. And non-metallic repair that contributes more than 1/2 of strength of the cell in an area of 12 inch or high. So those are the things for measure alternation and measure repair. You will find a question for must in a PA 653 where it mentioned 12 inch, somewhere it mentioned 13 inch, somewhere it mentioned 11 inch, somewhere they say 12 inch above the design liquid level, and they will mention whether it is a measure alternation or measure repair or not. So that you need to identify and you have to find the correct answer. Product site. Product site means if the tank is like that, so inside of the tank is called product site. Okay. Soil side, the bottom plate, downside of the bottom plate is called soil side. Recognize toughness. Toughness is a very important chapter. We read it in APA 650 and we do some calculations if you remember it correctly and if you practice it correctly. Similarly, in APA 653, we'll do the toughness. Okay, because why toughness is more important? Because the type of liquid you will store in the tank, that depends upon whether the toughness is required or not to be tested. Okay, so based on addition of standard tank original construction or by coupon testing, section 5.3.2, based on thickness, what is the thickness above and less, we have to do the toughness based on lowest design and temperature and based on exception curves. So those are the things we have to check for the recognized toughness. Reconstruction. Reconstruction means any work necessary to reassemble a tank that has been dismantled and are relocated to a new site. If it is relocated, then we call it a relocation. Okay, reconstruction and relocation. Repair. What do you mean by repair? Work necessary to maintain or restore tank to a condition suitable for safe operation is called a repair. This is the definition and usually they ask in the exam. Repair includes both major repair and not major repair or minor repair. Okay. Example of repair includes removal and replacement of materials such as roof, cell, bottom materials including weld metal and maintain tank integrity. It is a major repair, some of the major repair. We already read in the last slide which is major repair and major alternation. Relabeling and jacking of the tank. Jacking of the tank is a major repair. Adding or replacing reinforcing plates to existing cell penetrations, then it is called a major repairs. Repair of flaws such as tears or gouges by grinding and or gouging followed by weldings. Sometimes if the welding will increase 12 inch formula as we discussed in the last slides, then it is major. If it is less than, then it is minor repair. Then we come next, the most important part is repair organization. Once we read before sometimes inspection organization, then it is repair organization. Who can inspect? After doing inspection, we have to do the repair. First do inspection, first find out where the repair is required, then do the repair. Who will do the repair? The repair organization. Then who is a repair organization? An owner, operator of above ground storage tanks who repair or alter his or her own equipment in accordance with the standard is called a repair organizations. You will find similar questions like inspection organizations, repair organizations also similar questions usually kept. Okay, so the owner and operator of above ground storage tank who repair or alter his or own equipment is called a repair organization, or a contractor whose qualifications are acceptable to the owner and operator. So everything comes to the purchaser, owner or operator, okay, of above ground storage tank and who makes repair or alternation in accordance with the standard. One who is authorized by, acceptable to, or otherwise not prohibited by the jurisdiction. Jurisdiction means local authority, okay, and who makes repair in accordance with the standard is called a repair organization. So please remember these terms. This will come a question in exam. Always, what is a repair organization? Similar service assessments, the process by which corrosion rates and inspection intervals are established for a candidate tank. What I told candidate tanks? If the corrosion rate is unknown, then candidate tank. If it is known, control tank. Okay, using corrosion rate and service history from the control tank of the purpose of establishing the next inspection date. Okay. Soil side, the side of the tank bottom, already I told you. Unknown toughness, a condition that exists when it cannot be demonstrated that the material of a component satisfies the definition of the recognized toughness is called unknown toughness. Then thickened insert plate, as I told you, greater than the nominal thickness of the adjoining material by 1/8 inch, means 3 mm. So friends, many thanks for watching the video. I hope you are watching it and sharing with your friends, and I hope you like the videos also. I try my best to get it understood, more understood to you who are new to this channel or who are preparing for this APA 653 courses. If you have any doubt, put in the comment. I will try to clarify those doubts. Please subscribe to this channel and share with your friends, and ask them to watch watch for all this technical knowledge in order to use in their technical fields, and to help them to grow in their professional lives. So many thanks friends for watching the video. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.